welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kat, and Christmas is upon us. So I decided to do a DIY video that encompasses some Christmas stuff, but also something that is just a little festive, but just classy, not so much as Christmassy. That was a beating around the bush way to tell you that I'm making 3 different types of garlands. So we're making 3 different garlands today. Those of you that don't necessarily like the Christmas decoration season can make something as well. Anyways, so I hope you enjoy this, and let's get into the DIYs. And welcome to the voiceover. I'm gonna show you how to make some cute little Christmas trees in the form of a garland. I do also want to apologize for not posting recently between the stress of school and also I got really sick. I haven't been able to post. So we're back on schedule now, hopefully. Anyways, back to these trees. All you need to do is pick the fabric you want, cut a square. It doesn't have to be perfect or any specific size. It just needs to be big enough to fit a Christmas tree on it. Then, if you need to, you can draw the Christmas tree on with chalk. I'm using white charcoal here. It works really nicely, especially on dark fabrics. And then I'm going to break down how to sew the tree. What I am doing here, I got a really close-up view for you guys. I'm going from the very tip of the tree down straight in lines to the tip edge of the branches. And then I'm stopping the sewing machine, picking up the plate, turning the whole work, and then going inwards from that tip of the branch into the center of the tree, and then stopping, raising the plate, turning the piece again, and following that diagonal back out to the edge of the branches again. I do that 3 times for each side. And I always pick up the plate when I'm going to turn. It makes it easier to turn that way. If I'm being honest, I had quite a bit of problem figuring out how to make these trees, and this is the way that I found it works the best. And then when you're getting close to the top again, you want to stop, leave a gap so that you can stuff the little tree, and then you can just go back in and sew it up. And I'm making sure to trim all the edges before I go and fill the tree. And I'm just using a polyester filling that I got from Walmart. It's really nice, but it's basic. Once it's stuffed, go back to the machine and finish off that edge just with a normal straight stitch. This is a really easy project for beginners with a sewing machine, or you could even make it by hand. It's very simple to do that as well. I'm just going to repeat this pattern several times until I have enough trees for the length that I want my garland to be. For me, it's about 9 trees. I'm also changing the colors that I'm using, and I'm using all flannel patterns. This will all tie in very nicely to my decor theme this year. Okay, so here are all 9 of my trees. As you can see, I tried to keep it in a pattern. So I've got 3 red, 2 green, and 4 white. And so it alternates nicely. And then instead of measuring and using a bunch of math, I made it a little easier on myself. I took my rope and I folded it so that there would be 3 different edges. That way, 3 trees go on each of those edges, and I know that they're perfectly spaced. I am a girl that is not about math, so this was a dream come true. All you're gonna do is you just wanna sew them on with a regular needle. This makes them more durable, and they will hold on a little better, or you can use hot glue if you still aren't that great at sewing. That's fine too. You can actually make these trees with glue as well. But like I said, they will hold up better if you sew them. And I'm all about durable decorations that I don't have to make a bunch of different times. And that, my friends, is how I made this cute little tree garland. And funnily enough, I have it right next to my actual tree. Okay, garland number 2 is a little less Christmassy, but it's still very festive. So this works even if you don't necessarily celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate a different holiday, you can still put this up and feel cozy and warm inside. This is just a simple DIY pom-pom garland. Making pom-poms are very easy. All you need is some old yarn or new yarn, depending on what you want, your hand, and some scissors. That's all I ever use to make pom-poms, and it works really well. I've seen some DIYs use a cardboard piece, but I have found that this method with my hand works just as well, and you don't need to use cardboard. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm using my 4 main fingers, so excluding my thumb, and I am essentially putting them together like I'm saying live long and prosper, and leaving that gap there in the middle between the middle finger and the ring finger. And that's where I'm gonna slide the extra yarn through to tie off the pom-pom. So just wind that around your fingers until you're happy with the amount of yarn that is there. And then you wanna take a small cut of separate yarn and slip that through the hole that you have in your fingers, between your fingers, and tie that off, pull it off your fingers, and voila, you can tighten it and cut the edges. And that makes a perfect pom-pom. These pom-poms can be used for any project from here, or you can continue and follow this DIY for the garland. So if you're making a garland, go ahead and make a lot more of these. I'm using 2 colors, a red and a white, because they're kind of Christmassy, but you can use any colors you want. Also, I really like red and white together, so. Finish off the amount of pom-poms that you want. I'm keeping mine close together, so I am going to make quite a few. I ended up with 10 pom-poms altogether. This will be a shorter garland than the tree garland I just showed you, but it's really cute for small spaces. Once again, I alternated the colors just like with the tree garland. This one you will also need some needle and thread for, but you don't have to have any sewing experience. You just need to be able to find the needle and not stab yourself. I've done it a few times and it hurts. Please don't do it. You can also get a little protective cover for your thumb. It's called a thimble, but I don't have one, so my thumb is not protected. You want to use a sturdy thread and go ahead and push your needle through each pom-pom, obviously with the thread in it, and pull it all the way through. You want to make sure you have plenty of thread, so I'm actually leaving my thread connected to the spool until I'm happy with the length. And here you will see me fumbling like a silly person. I cut my thread too early and my ribbon fell off, so I made a mistake. So I ended up tying extra thread back on so that I would be able to tie on ribbon. And I changed the ribbon that I was using to a silver ribbon, 1 because I liked it better, and 2 because there are loops in it, so I can tie the thread through the loops to make it stay. There's a little trick for you guys. Anyways, I did use ribbon for the edges just to make it look a little bit more finished. You can use any sort of ribbon you want, because ribbon going through little pom-poms, not so much an easy feat, but thread on the other hand, much easier to get through pom-poms. This can also allow you to hang your pom-pom garland across a further surface. That makes sense. Wider surface is what I meant. And this is the finished product hung up. It is adorable. I love it so much. It's really peaceful for my office. I can turn around and look at it, and it just makes me feel a little fuzzier inside. I know, bad joke, but still, it does. Last but not least is a tiny little garland for any trees or plants you might be keeping in your home. Make them look a little more festive this year, and in a safe way. I'm using little glittery foam balls from the craft store. I'm just using green because I think it would look really sweet with the little green fake wooden plant that I have in my office, because it almost blends, but not quite. I'm doing the same thing that I did with the Pom Pom Garland. I'm just pushing a needle and thread through each of the foam balls. And you need to make sure to use a strong enough needle for this one, otherwise it won't push through that foam as well. I just want to apologize for the not so great camera angle for most of this one. I guess I didn't realize that my camera had gotten moved. I must have bumped the table, so I'm sorry for that. But essentially the idea is I'm stringing it exactly like I did the Pom Pom Garland. The only difference with this one is that I am looping it and tying it on top so that the ball doesn't move up and down the string while it's sitting, so they don't all collect on one side, because that would look a little silly. This looks really cute with obviously fake wooden plants that nobody would ever have in their home. I don't know why I have this, but I have it. And it would also look good on cacti, little trees that are more stiff, so something with more of a shape to it, not necessarily a hanging plant, but it could look cute. I don't know, you would have to try it. I don't have any hanging plants, so I hope you guys try this one and send me pictures of your plant buddies with some foam ball garlands on them. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you don't know how to sew, then you can probably use glue for those trees, but that would be a little bit more difficult and take a little longer. But there are obviously the other two that you don't necessarily need to have any skill with sewing to do them. Also, I just want to share with you guys, I don't know if you guys can see this, but Christmas leggings! Christmas leggings! I always wear Christmas leggings, well, obviously during this season, not just in general. But I have like 7 pairs, so I'm always constantly wearing these. I love Christmas. Anyways, so if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you want to see every time I upload. And have a Merry Christmas, or whatever else you celebrate, because everything matters. Do it, meow!